everyone. I am Melanie Jongsma, publisher of the Lansing Journal. We are Lansing's only newspaper, and our mission is to keep our diverse community informed and connected. We've been covering the drama surrounding Tiffany Henyard and Thornton Township for a long time, and today I want to share some information that will help connect the present conflicts with some things that happened in the past. Certain questions bubble up from time to time recently with Thornton Township board meetings being canceled due to lack of quorum and special meetings being called with special agendas. I think some context from the past would be helpful to understand what's going on with these boycotts and cancellations. At the heart of this current conflict is the vacancy on the Thornton Township board right now. Trustee Jerry Jones resigned on October 7, 2024 with a handwritten note. According to township procedure, the board has 60 days to select and approve someone to fill that vacant seat. If they cannot accomplish that replacement within those 60 days, then that decision is given to the electorate, the broader population of Thornton Township, at a public meeting. I have never been to such a meeting because they don't happen very often. But from what I understand, a public meeting like this would be similar to a caucus. People would be allowed to nominate candidates to fill that vacant trustee position, and a public vote would be taken. Here's the reason the historical context is important. In 2022, the Thornton Township Board also faced a 60-day deadline to fill a vacancy. That was when Tiffany Henyard was nominated to fill the supervisor seat. That seat became vacant when Supervisor Frank Zuccarelli died. He died on January 3, 2022. The board then had until March 3 to appoint a new supervisor. I looked up the agendas and minutes of the 6 meetings held by the board without a supervisor. They met 6 times between Zuccarelli's death and Henyard's appointment. There were actually supposed to be 7 meetings, but one didn't have a quorum, so that meeting didn't happen. Even so, this board had 6 opportunities to appoint someone to fill that vacant seat. On January 10, there was a meeting. On January 11, there was a meeting. Also on January 25 and February 8. February 22, there was supposed to be a meeting, but there was no quorum. Then there was a meeting on March 1 and on March 3. Now, if you are interested in these minutes, you can access them from the Lansing Journal's website. For this video, I just want to mention a few things that caught my attention while I was reviewing those minutes. First, there were a lot of closed sessions, and those closed sessions were often long, an hour, 2 hours sometimes, and we don't know what happened during those sessions because they were closed. Second, I don't know if this is significant or not, but it caught my attention. Trustee Joyce Washington was appointed Supervisor Pro Tem, or Pro Temp, as the minutes say, on January 10, the first meeting following Zuccarelli's death. At that January 11 meeting, after a closed session, Washington was also appointed Deputy Supervisor, quote, with a stipend of 5% of salary. I don't know if that's 5% of her trustee salary or of the supervisor salary, and I don't know if it's standard practice to pay the interim person a stipend, but there it is, it's in the minutes. I also don't know why the change from Supervisor Pro Tem to Deputy Supervisor, but from that point on in the minutes, Joyce Washington is referred to as Deputy Supervisor. Another thing I noticed, at the February 8 board meeting, there is an item that says, quote, Deputy Supervisor Washington entertained a motion to bypass item B under new business on the agenda. When you go to the agenda to see what item B under new business was, it says, quote, fill the vacancy of Township Supervisor by appointment. So, for some reason, the board chose not to spend time at their February 8 meeting filling the vacancy. They chose to bypass that item. Their next meeting was scheduled for February 22. That's the meeting that was canceled due to lack of quorum. That brings us to March 1, which is the first meeting the Lansing Journal has video of. We don't have video of the whole meeting because this was before we started recording full meetings like we do now. But we do have footage of the 2 nominations that were made that night. I'm going to show that clip, but first I want to share something interesting I noticed in the minutes. The minutes record 2 public comments that were made at the March 1 meeting. First, Pastor William Fleshman of Dalton is recorded as saying, quote, "The appointment must come from this board and be from among you, those who were handpicked and currently sit in the seat of trustee, because Frank Zuccarelli saw something in you that you may not have seen in yourself." So there was a certain feeling, maybe some pressure, that choosing the next supervisor should be a board decision, not a people's choice. Second, there was a public comment made by South Holland resident Doncor Parker. He's recorded as saying, quote, "These 4 trustees owe it to all of us out here to go into the back room and come out here with someone victorious, no matter who it is, as long as it's one of our family members that we need to get behind for re-election and support going forward." Now, Doncor Parker is the person we see supporting Tiffany Henyard at the next meeting. So that's interesting. But let's get to the video from the March 1 meeting. 2 nominees were presented, Cassandra Elston and Jerry Jones, and they were presented after a 2-hour closed session. Here's what happened.
Don't go again. Nominations are open.
All right, nominations are open. Nominations are open.
I nominate Cassandra Elston, Thornton Township Supervisor.
Have a second?
Yeah, I second.
There's no second. Nominations are still open.
I nominate Jerry Jones.
No, not yet. We're waiting for a second.
Dad on the floor, we don't have a second.
Do we have a second for the nomination, our first nomination for Cassandra Elston? There is no second. Nomination fails. Nominations are open. Do we have another nomination?
I nominate Jerry Jones.
Do we have a second?
Y'all got to be kidding me.
I second that nomination.
We have a second. There will be a vote.
Yeah, there's a vote. Motion, second vote. Roll call. Or discussion.
Any discussion?
Call the roll.
Roll call. Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
No.
Trustee Gray Everett?
Abstain.
Deputy Supervisor Washington?
No. No. You made the nomination.
Make a motion to rescind the vote. Motion's not done.
Look, it's not over, so I can change it. I can rescind her vote.
Deputy Supervisor Washington?
Nominate Jerry Jones. Second.
Yes.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
Second.
Yes. Yes.
Just say yes.
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Yes.
The 2-1-1 vote.
No one is elected.
It fails. You need 3 affirmative.
It fails. Nominations fail.
Y'all got to be kidding me.
We have to go back into closed
Oh
session.
my God. This is is crazy. This is really, this is crazy. Might not like the person, but this, come on, y'all. This is crazy.
Believe it or not, after those two votes, the board decided to go into a closed session again. That session lasted an hour. And then Deputy Supervisor Washington came out and said that the board was going to recess. This was at 10:30 p.m. on March 1. So the earliest they could reconvene and give 48-hour notice would be March 3 at 10:30 p.m. That's what the attorney is saying at the beginning of this clip.
48 hours notice, and 48 hours from now is then. We're stuck with it.
The meeting is over.
We're stuck with it.
We have a continual meeting on Thursday. What date is that? On, March 3rd at 10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m.
1, 2, 3, 4.
That will be the last meeting of this,
First, second, third.
this group.
Meeting is in recess.
Sorry, people, we had to stay this long to hear this, but, the meeting is over.
I want y'all to know, this is sad. This is really sad. Y'all can't conduct the meeting here. What y'all gonna do with us in the public?
So already you get a sense of how dysfunctional this is. In fact, the headline of the article I wrote about that meeting was "Confusion Marks Attempted Appointment of Zuccarelli Replacement." You can see how weary Joyce Washington looks in that clip, and I just got the impression that the board was so used to having Frank Zuccarelli handle everything, they just didn't know how to run a meeting without him. Anyway, the March 3 meeting was just as dysfunctional. Again, we don't have video of the entire meeting, but Josh Bootsma and I co-wrote an article that summarized the proceedings, so they are documented. And I'll link to that in the description if you want to read that article. Despite the approaching deadline, the meeting started with a closed session again, about 20 minutes. Trustees came out of that closed session and went through a series of 4 nominations that failed. First, Chris Gonzalez nominated Cassandra Elston. Gonzalez and Darlene Gray Everett voted yes. Jerry Jones and Joyce Washington abstained, so that vote failed. Then Joyce Washington nominated Jerry Jones. Washington and Jones voted yes. Gonzalez and Gray Everett voted no, so that resulted in a tie that Clerk Loretta Wells had to break, and she ultimately voted no, so that nomination failed. Third, Gonzalez nominated Elston again, and this time the nomination was overlooked due to discussion about going into closed session again, so no vote was actually taken. Fourth, Jerry Jones nominated Stan Brown. Yes, that's Stan Brown. And no one seconded, so that didn't go to a vote. By now it's after 11:30 p.m., and the deadline for the board to make this appointment is midnight, and the board votes to go into another closed session. They come out of closed session at 11:44 p.m., and we go through 4 more nominations that fail. Jerry Jones nominates Terry Wells and gets voted down. Jerry Jones nominates Napoleon Harris. Yes, that Napoleon Harris. No one seconds that nomination, so it doesn't go to a vote. Chris Gonzalez nominates Cassandra Elston again and gets voted down. Joyce Washington nominates herself and gets voted down. So now we are at 11:48 p.m. The board has to make this decision by midnight if they want to prevent this vote from going to the public. And this is when trustee Chris Gonzalez throws Tiffany Henyard's name into the mix. And that's the video we have.
49.
So what was the vote?
49.
I nominate Tiffany Henyard, Thornton Township Supervisor.
You all are making a mockery out of this for real. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is ridiculous.
Trustee Jones,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez,
Yes.
Trustee Gray Everett,
Yes.
Trustee
Second that That's right. Hold down, man.
She already, yes. And she has to sign the warrant, and then she's got to take the oath in 9 minutes. Let's go. 9 minutes.
Put your hands together for your new township supervisor, Tiffany Henyard.
How can she do that in the middle?
Y'all can have the bed, baby. Y'all can have that
Wow. That's in the books. That's gone. Wow. I did not see that coming. Wow.
All right, can I have your attention? Please raise your right hand. And say I and insert your name.
I, Tiffany Henyard,
Do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of office
the duties of office
of Township Supervisor
of Township Supervisor
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Sweet it is.
You may make a motion as a supervisor to adjourn. Well, you can ask for it. Can I have a motion?
Can I have a motion to close the meeting?
Still second?
We need a second to close the meeting. Second.
Bravo.
All in favor? All in favor?
I didn't see that coming.
Whatever happened, But don't
I'm still shaking. Yeah, I am. But we're like trouble, like, oh my God, hurt me so bad. I'm like, sweet. Yeah, that's all right.
So when you review what happened in 2022, you get a better sense of the conflict that is in play now in 2024 and 2025. For example, as we saw on March 3, 2022, when there is a tie vote on a candidate to fill a vacancy, the clerk is allowed to vote to break the tie. This is why trustees Carmen Carlisle and Chris Gonzalez have avoided meetings where a replacement trustee is on the agenda. If it's on the agenda, it can come to a vote. And given the current board alignment, it's likely that a vote on a candidate put forth by Supervisor Henyard would result in a 2-2 tie, with Henyard and Trustee Gray Everett voting against Trustees Carlisle and Gonzalez. If that were to happen, Clerk Wells would be called upon to vote to break the tie. And there's no telling how she would vote, especially since the name of the proposed candidate is not even known. So that's why Carlisle and Gonzalez have been avoiding meetings where they could be forced to vote on a trustee candidate. And that's why when they put together their own agenda of essential business, they don't include that order of business. They are willing to take care of necessary items to move the township forward, but they don't want to be forced into a tie vote. Also, If you have heard Chris Gonzalez talk about how he thinks this vote should go to the people, it's because he's recalling what happened in 2022. The board then was determined not to let the vote go to the people. And on March 3, in a desperate attempt to get the vote done before midnight, they approved a candidate they hadn't vetted. Gonzalez doesn't want that to happen again. And the fact is, the 60 days are up. This trustee replacement process now should legally be turned over to the people. Not only are the 60 days up, but a petition has been submitted for a meeting of the electorate. So legally, that meeting has to happen now. As of this recording, we are still waiting for a date and time to be set. Clerk Wells is responsible for making those arrangements. So that's a look back at some history. I think it provides some context for the conflicts we see manifesting today. And honestly, it was helpful for me to look back as well. Even though I was there at the time, I learned some things by reviewing the old minutes and the old video clips. Back then, we had no idea what we were at the beginning of. We had no idea what actions and what names would be significant later on. So thank you for indulging me in this review of the past. I hope it was helpful for you as well. We at the Lansing Journal appreciate your viewership and your readership. In fact, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. We are local to the drama unfolding in Thornton Township, and we offer a local understanding of what's going on. Plus, your subscription really helps us grow, and we appreciate that. Please let me know in the comments if you have questions, or if you have any additional information to share as context. That's it for now. We will see you next time. Thank you.
So you've been voted the Thornton Township Supervisor. How do you feel right now?
Oh man, I'm overjoyed. Didn't see it coming. I love it. That means that I am truly blessed and everyone loves me. I love them. Thank you.
It seemed like a surprise to everyone in the room, a surprise to you as well?
Yes.
Okay.
See, I'm still trembling. Yes.
What brought you to tonight's meeting in the first place?
To support whoever was going to be the next supervisor.
Okay.
And beg for Dalton. No.
What impact does this have on your current position as mayor of Dalton?
I can hold both seats, so I'm loving it.
Okay.
McDonald's, I'm loving it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest supervisor and the first female. I made history again twice.
And you're taking the position of Mr. Frank Zuccarelli. Obviously, big shoes to fill. What are your thoughts on that?
I will basically lead what he has started. I will follow in his footsteps. I'm gonna do my own breadcrumbs along the way, but he did really good. So.
And Ms. Washington, Ms. Henyard has your blessing as the new supervisor.
Yeah, thank you. Every blessing.
All right. Very good. Thank you both. Appreciate it. Mr. Jones, your thoughts on Ms. Henyard as the new supervisor?
Well, in this day and age, it's a saying that we got to keep having is, if not now, then when? And we got a young lady that has the potential to take this township to some great heights. I was excited about the opportunity when it came around. I mean, I nominated a lot of people, but when it came to her, I mean, I'm not saying it's a third choice or anything like that. You know, she's gonna be good for this community. Jimmy, she's gonna be good. We're gonna see to it. We're gonna see to it.
Thank you. Yes, we are.
Did you get a picture?